All right, let's talk about a really powerful training method. One that lets you practice for life's most intense moments. Like dealing with a furious customer or even saving someone's life, but with absolutely zero real-world consequences. Let's dive in and see how it all works.
Okay, I want you to put yourself in this situation. Imagine you're the manager at a Pizza Hut. A huge mistake has happened. A strictly vegetarian family got a meat pizza, and they ate it. Now, they've put the whole story on Facebook, and it is blowing up. Your heart is pounding, right? You know you have to fix this, so you take a deep breath, pick up the phone, and make the call.
And that's the first thing you hear. Just pure, raw anger. This isn't just about a wrong pizza anymore. The customer is so mad they won't even let you speak. So much for that apology you had all planned out. And just when you think it can't get any worse, it does.
And there it is, the knockout punch. This has just gone from a customer service blunder to a deeply personal, religious, and emotional crisis for this person. The stakes just shot through the roof. So how are you feeling right now? A little anxious? Stressed out? I bet your body is reacting like this is 100% real.
Okay, let's pull back the curtain for a second. That whole intense scenario, it was just a training exercise. The manager was a participant, and the customer on the phone was actually the trainer. But those feelings? Oh, those were absolutely real.
And this is what's so incredible. The person making that call later said he was full of anxiety, that he could literally feel the cortisol, the stress hormone, flooding his body. His brain didn't care that it wasn't real. It reacted to the pressure just as it would in a real crisis.
And that, right there, is the magic of simulation. It lets us feel the genuine emotional and psychological weight of a tough situation, but in a totally safe space. A place where we can practice, mess up, and learn, all without causing any real-world harm. It's real emotions with zero risk.
So, what actually makes something a simulation? Because, it's a word that gets thrown around a lot. Let's play a little game to see if we can nail down the definition. I'll give you a scenario and you decide, is it a simulation or not?
All right, first one up. Think about a standard CPR class. You've got students gathered around a mannequin, practicing chest compressions, learning how to give rescue breaths. We've all seen this. So, what do you think? Simulation or no? That's a big yes. The number one reason, it's a completely risk-free environment. You obviously can't practice CPR on a living, breathing person. The mannequin provides that safe space to build a physical skill where mistakes are just part of the learning process.
Okay, how about this one? We're in a mock ER. A trained actor is playing a patient, and they're showing very specific symptoms. A nurse who's in training has to interact with them and figure out what's going on.
Is this a simulation? Yes, for sure. And this one adds another really important ingredient: dynamic reaction. The actor isn't just reading a script, they're reacting in real time to what the nurse says and does. The environment actually changes based on the learner's choices. That's a huge deal. All right, let's try this. A classic business school case study. Students get a document that tells a whole story about a manager and an employee, from start to finish. Then they just talk about what happened.
Is that a simulation?
This time, the answer is no. And here's why. It's totally passive. You're just analyzing something that already happened. The ending is set in stone. Nothing you say or do can change the outcome of the story. It's like watching game film instead of actually being on the field.
Okay, last one. You're taking an online training course. A little scenario pops up, and you have to click one of 4 multiple-choice options to solve a problem. Then it just tells you correct or incorrect.
What about this? Is it a simulation? And that's also a no. Really, this is just a quiz dressed up to look like a scenario. A real simulation wouldn't just tell you if you're right or wrong. It would show you the consequences. The customer might get angrier, or maybe they'd calm down, all based on your choice. A linear path with one right answer, that's just a test, not a practice field.
So, as you can see, not all training exercises are created equal. It's actually helpful to think of them as being on a spectrum, which really clarifies all the different ways we can create these practice environments. It starts with the most basic form, human-to-human role-plays, just like that Pizza Hut call. Then, you level up to physical simulators, things like CPR mannequins, or those huge excavator cabs for construction workers. From there, you get into complex, screen-based simulations. And at the very top, you have fully immersive virtual realities that can literally put you in any environment you can imagine. So whether it's 2 people talking in a room or a super high-tech VR setup,
What's the secret sauce? What are those core ingredients that make any simulation a truly powerful way to learn?
It really comes down to these 4 things. First, fidelity. It has to feel real enough to trigger those genuine emotions. Second, dynamic reaction. The world has to react and change based on what you do. Third, it has to be completely risk-free. Failure isn't just allowed, it's encouraged. And finally, there has to be a clear learning purpose. This isn't just for fun, it's practice with a purpose.
When you think about it, simulation is kind of like a superpower. It gives us a safe harbor to practice for life's toughest challenges, whether that's a difficult conversation or a life or death decision. So I'll leave you with this question. Where in your own life could a practice run change everything?